So, folks, I have been a co host on The Line now for several months, and I'm really excited to finally begin presenting you guys different conversations that I've had with callers into the Transatlantic Call-In Show, which again is a show hosted on The Line. All of you should go check out The Line. You can find a link to go subscribe down in the description, as well as links to their Patreon and their merch store. Go check it out. It's really fun. People call in, and specifically on the show that I'm on, but there are many others that you can check out. People call in to ask about trans issues and talk or debate about trans rights, trans people, and also to learn. So you never quite know what you're going to get on this show, and I'm really excited to be a part of it and also to finally have a way to debate or interact with people who have different ideas from me in a little bit more of an equal footing. So I'm not just yelling at commenters or yelling at chatters anymore. Now it is, in fact, talking with and debating ideas with people who are actually talking to me. So check it out. It's really, really cool. Go check out the original episode if you want to see it all in full. And also, every Thursday, the Transatlantic Call-In Show is on live. So you can also call in if you have an idea you want to run by the co-hosts, or if you want to debate a different thing. Whatever you want. But it is live every Thursday. Go check it out. It is really, really fun. Link down to the original episode as well down in the description. And I hope you enjoy.
We've got Natty, they, them in Brazil, who wants to know kind of what are the expected results of more left-leaning wins like the mayoral race. So, Natty, you are live on Takis with Arden and Jack. What's going on?
Hey, just before we start, since the last caller also mentioned Sarah, I was like, I got offended by the first Sarah call because back in my day, trolling took effort. Bait used to be believable.
It's true.
You would build up the relationship, you find what set the other person off, and they would punch that. But nowadays, trolling is like, I'm gonna say a slur. Like, where's the trolling? That just makes you a dick.
Yeah,
where's the artistry?
For real, I would like some effort, at least entertain me a little, Listen, I can control myself when there are more important things, when somebody uses a really offensive approach to comedy, but like funny is funny. If it's offensive, it can still be funny, even if I acknowledge that it's offensive and wrong. At least make me laugh a little if you're going to be a troll. Anyway, go ahead, Natty. What was your topic?
Yeah, because from the perspective I have here in Brazil is that Democrats aren't really of the particularly good, party in the first place. Like, it's not like they're that left leaning in the first place. So my question is, aside from Donnie, who I know is more like way more left leaning than like the majority of the Democratic Party, what are the expected results? Like, is there going to be any significant change? Is it going to be just more of the status quo? Is it going to be the same thing that we've had so far?
I mean, I think that what I am hoping and expecting is that a lot of people around the country, especially combined with kind of great onboarding events like the No Kings protests, are going to be locked in and paying attention to things like the New York City mayoral race. And they're going to see, oh, wait, they actually got a guy in who's going to get like free childcare, who's going to like fund the buses. Hey, wait a minute. If they can do that in New York City, we could do that here. Like we could do that in the middle of nowhere in Arizona or New Mexico. And like, some of these states are already passing similar things like that on a statewide level. And so my hope is that it energizes the base to not just turn out to poll, to like the polls to vote, because like that's not going to be what does it. That's not going to be what like saves the country. What's going to do it is people doing more than they have before and turning out not just every, 4 years to vote, every 2 years to vote, or even in off-year elections, but like actually getting involved in their local political scene and creating kind of that downwards up pressure to change the top of the party. Because you're right, like the top of the Democratic Party is captured by corporations and a lot of like political spending. Like if you Google like Democrat Wall Street, you get Chuck Schumer. Like that's like one of the top results on Google. And like it's because they give this man a lot of money, and he understands who butters his bread, and he like will torpedo a lot of like the good ideas that are happening. But that isn't true on the local level necessarily. Like having been to a number of local organizing events, like I can tell you, like on the local level, a lot of folks are turning up just to be like, hey, our water is getting dirtier and we need to get this cleaned up. Like let's figure out what's happening in water treatment or other local concerns. And also just one last thing. I would also say that one of the rising kind of movements in the United States is the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. And they're spreading out across the United States and doing better and better with each kind of election. So that's kind of where I'm hopeful. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're completely right about the downward up pressure. I mean, you saw it when Kathy Hochul went to the like the victory speech that or party that Mamdani was hosting. They were chanting "tax the rich," and she pretended to have not heard it, but let's be real, she obviously fucking heard what they were saying. And that's the kind of pressure we need. We need the people to make them fear that their seats are at risk if they don't move the direction of Mamdani. And there's already Mamdani copycats that are popping up in a number of different cities. I went to school in Rhode Island. I lived in Rhode Island for a long time. I love the state deeply. And Providence is running their own sort of Mamdani-esque candidate who's been doing a lot of the same videos and been talking about Mamdani a lot, which is clearly he's trying to like ride that same wave, right? I forget his name off the top of my head. If anyone in chat knows, let me know. But yeah, I think this is kind of how the movements work, right? And to a certain extent, I kind of understand the need for like a big tent coalition where, there's a lot of rural, conservative, working class people who are, it's going to be more difficult to get them to overcome the like Red Scare propaganda in their brains about socialism and socialist policies. But when you start making their life better, you can't fuck with that. When they're like, wow, I have more money in my pocket, my healthcare is better, I don't have to worry about school for my children, the bus is free. The propaganda can't interfere with your ability to use the bus and your life getting easier. So the hope, I think, is that, it'll be effective and that it'll help people slowly start to overcome this stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously we can't see the future, but that's kind of what my thoughts are on it. How's that all land with you, Natty?
Since you mentioned Schumer, I am blatantly copying a comment I saw on YouTube, which is Chuck Schumer once again snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah, I said that earlier. Yeah. Same thing for sure. No, it's 100% true.
And is there any way for the mayors, the local election, like the local officials that have been elected, to put even more pressure, like directly on the Democrats? So, like, think people like Chuck Schumer out of the party. Is there a possibility for them to do that?
So, kind of. It depends on mayor of like which city. Like with New York City, that's like one of the most powerful political positions in the country, just because New York City is so big. When you're talking about maybe like other local mayors in like smaller cities, that power diminishes quite a bit. But the premise would be that you build up that local power before you can build up that state power, because the two are kind of going hand in hand, right? And then once you have that state level power, that can in turn affect like national elections. And kind of to Arden's point, by making things better, like actually better for like the lived experiences of people living there, not just like cutting taxes or whatever, or doing anything like that, but like actually providing services that people can see and experience. Those are a lot harder for even Republicans to roll back. A good example would be, I think it's North Dakota has like a state bank that they are able to do all kinds of cool stuff with. And like that was initially established by socialists in like the 1910s, you know, and that still exists today because it helps people out. People are all aware of it. It's not scary. And like making tangible improvements like that can maybe seem small, like, but when it's something that people feel, that is actually what builds up political power. And if you forgive just a slight rant, I've been reading up about Paul Wellstone, who was a local politician in Minnesota who was really beloved and progressive and did a lot for like green energy in the state. And part of what made him like a famous and powerful politician in the state was that he went into these rural areas and understood like their issues and advocated for them, and that loyalty that he got from them like was enduring until he passed away tragically in a plane accident. But by actually improving people's lives, you can like win over the loyalty of folks in this country, even in the reddest places, for like an entire generation. It's because like a lot of the Democratic Party has been paid off by corporations, and policy then moves in the direction of the corporations rather than the working folk that the Democrats lost.
I think a great example to reaffirm what you're saying too is Bernie Sanders. Like, I know people think because Bernie is so left and Vermont usually votes blue. I was born in Vermont. I can tell you the majority of the rural areas are very red, very conservative. People in my high school were flying Confederate flags at the back of their trucks. This is the kind of culture we're talking about. And yet Bernie has been in power in Vermont for a very, very long fucking time. So yeah, I think it's hard to deny results for people, even if they're like, you know, what you'll hear from a lot of conservative men in that area is, well, you know, I don't like the guy, but he did X, Y, and Z, and so, you know, I guess it's okay. Like, they'll try to commit to some element of like, I'm not a socialist, but you know, I might like that policy or something like that. So, but I mean, yeah, like we can't know the future, so it's hard to know exactly what the effect will be. But one thing's for sure, Mamdani has had a national impact on the party and the kind of candidates that we want to see. He's clearly breathing life into Democratic politicians in a way we just don't get. He's not the focus-tested phrase generator. He's unflappable. They try to pin him on Israel, and rather than giving us some, you know, phrase that has gone through 8 layers of focus group testing, he just tells you what he actually fucking thinks, which is like, hey, Israel deserves to exist as a state with equal rights, but like, I don't believe in ethno-states, point blank, period. And like, I'm against genocide, and I think that's wrong. Like, you can't mess with that, you know. There's no like, people can have they put out their propaganda or whatever, but in most cases, like I saw a great one today where people were like sending this message to Mamdani, and it was like these AI blimps going through the city of New York that said like, Jews will not be made afraid or something like that, or they shouldn't be made afraid or something along those lines. And they were like, he would agree with this. What do you mean? Like, he would say thank you, I guess. Yeah. And so
I would give one additional example to the North Dakota one, which is directly relates to Mamdani, which is that in rural America, municipally owned grocery stores have been a thing for a long time out of necessity, because like the major grocery chains have failed a lot of rural Americans. And if your local grocery store goes under in rural anywhere in the country, then you are suddenly stuck in the unenviable position of having to drive like 3 hours, 2 hours, even an hour to go to your local grocery store for food. And, you know, Erie, Kansas has a municipally owned grocery store. And like these policies that are being called like too socialist for New York City, they work even in rural America. And I think that like these policies matter, and I think a lot of folks in rural America get captured by the Fox News bubble, and they get scared of buzzwords. But when you de-abstract things into how is this going to actually improve your life, a lot of people in this country are desperate for that. They want to be able to make it. And I think that's kind of where our hope is, that everybody is struggling right now, and that combined struggle, if we channel that energy into politics, is going to break whatever corporate power is currently destroying so many institutions here.
How does that all land with you, Natty?
No. Everything makes sense. Yeah. Again, I was my question really does boil down to, can we predict the future? No, we can't. But
Yeah.
No, absolutely, that makes sense. Yeah. Isn't just to finish up then, because you talk about how there are a ton of socialist policies that are in place that people don't want to get rid of. Like, isn't that the reason why conservatives try to paint Medicare as like Obamacare, to like because they're like, I don't want that, I want to get rid of it, because they don't realize they're both the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also like, I think, a more complex thing in there, which is like why conservatives consistently vote against their own well-being, vote against things that are going to benefit them as people. And that is a different complex topic that we may have to call it another time for. But like, yeah, 100%. The right is far superior to Democrats on the sort of moralistic propaganda that they use that convinces people to vote against their best interests. There's a great book on it by, I think it's George Lakoff. I'm forgetting I think Don't Think of a Purple Elephant or something like that. Really, really great book on kind of the sort of moral psychology behind propaganda and sort of how these things work. And it's really, honestly, a lot of the book is talking about like why Democrats suck at this and what they could do better. It's a pretty old book too. He was a consultant, I think, even on some campaigns after the book came out. But yeah, it is a good read on sort of pulling apart that notion.
No, yeah, that was my question, really. Thanks so much for as usual. It's like my fourth time calling. Y'all are always so nice, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for calling, Natty. You have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Well, that certainly was a time. And I just want to remind you guys to check down in the description below for links to the original episode, links to the line itself if you want to subscribe, and you should. And also, remember, leave a like on this video, as well as the video for the actual episode, which, again, link down below. And comments also really help. So leave a comment here, leave a comment there, leave a comment everywhere. And also check out their merch, Patreon, etc. Really cool to be a part of this project. And I hope you enjoyed it. Let's keep on going. And I'll see you next time.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.